What is up, everyone? So last video we fit the roll cage in the E36. By we I mean Spoon himself.
Good morning.
Good morning. What are you doing?
Tacking the main hoop together, tacking the rear section together, tacking the front section together, and then we're gonna pull the main hoop, the back section, weld it together outside.
About 2 days of welding.
Yeah.
Since Spoon has his hands full, we're gonna dabble into the next thing, right? Because usually I like what I like to do is I like to have kind of like a main project guiding us and then do our little side quests here and there. And well, one of our main projects right here, the S15 she's good for the season. I drove it to the car show yesterday. It was like a 45-minute drive each way. It did amazing. It drives amazing. The power band is absurd. It is the funnest car to drive, but I did have a boo-boo and it hurt me. So we went down on the way there, went on this patch of highway that was super torn up, and I had to dip and dive and get out of the way of so much nonsense that one of my controls in the rear actually loosened up and caused my wheel to hit my quarter and smoke the paint. So fortunately that's the biggest panel and the worst panel to have to do paint work on, but so be it. I've never had anything like that happen to me in my life. I've had all these slammed cars. I've never burnt a fender like that, but it didn't affect the metal, so we'll handle that probably in the winter time. For now, it still looks good in videos. Whatever, it's heartbreaking, but besides that, engine was great. So I'm taking my wins on that. It was amazing, but enough rambling on. The next thing I want to get into is the K Series 86, right? We started this in the springtime and we were having a hard time getting a couple parts for it, and a couple other projects popped up that I really wanted to kind of handle first, that the car got put on the back burner. You guys know this thing, my 86. Like, we got this shell, it's so bare, it's super straight, but we don't really have any parts for it. It's kind of just like a raw shell. We painted the engine bay, painted the interior, got the half cage put in, and it's ready for, I'm gonna consider it a track build, right? I feel like everyone wants like a street car 86, but everyone also wants a track car 86, and I figured this would be the track car one, so instead of trying to go crazy and piecing every little piece together, this would be the great foundation for we'll call it a track car, right? So our foundation is solid, and now it's time to build this thing up into something pretty cool. And 86s are kind of like S chassis. They're an awesome blank slate. In stock form, they're a little all right, but they make so many different components and there's so many directions that you can go with them, and it makes it super exciting. So of course, everyone does a 4AG or beams or a Toyota engine because it just feels right. We like engine swaps around here, we like having fun, and well, we love the K Series. So we decided we're gonna do a rear-wheel drive K Series all motor setup in this car. I figured it was like the perfect combo, and I'm actually really excited for it because I've been dying to do a K Series all motor setup. So we have all these parts here, and we're gonna be building, well, I could say ultimate K Series, but you could always go better. More. You could always go more. So what we have here is we have a stock bottom end. This is a JDM, or we'll call it a junkyard motor, right? So it's a K24A2. It's a 2.4 liter, 4-cylinder Honda motor, you know, 05, 06 TSX motor. That's what we'll consider it. So we got this, we tore it down to a short block, wraps up in saran wrap, and it's been sitting in the corner ever since. And today we're finally gonna build this thing up. So this is the components we're using to make this thing pretty dope, right? We have the Toge Factory rear-wheel drive oil pan with their insane billet pump. We'll talk about this later on. We have the K20 oil pump, all brand new guides, bowls, cams, gaskets, and the cream of the crop, our 4-piston K20 head. That's right, we're doing a K20 420. K20 420. Frankenstein. If you guys know, you know. You see the box, it says 4-piston on it. If you guys know what 4-piston is, you know we have something spicy for this thing. Here we go, boys. This is our K20 4-piston Pro 156 head. This is the head that's gonna make all the jam here, right? So obviously if we're boosting it, you put a turbo on any K Series, it's fast, but since we're going for a all motor power, we actually have to kind of work for it. And so this is going to be our ace in the hole here, right? So what this is this is ace.
Yeah, you guys doing Honda things without me?
That's actually funny.
These hoes ain't loyal.
So what we have here is we have a K20 Z3 head that they take and they port the living crap out of it, which is, what is that, 09 to what, Civic SI? I don't remember. The mid-thousands Civic SI head, and they look how much area. They basically take the head, which is already a great head to begin with, OEM, and they port it to living hell. You see that?
Look at that. Something you want to put on the shelf?
Yeah, literally.
Oh, man.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah.
Spicy. So with this head and just that stock bottom end, we should be able to make on ethanol around 280.
Probably 300.
No. 300 on the motor, but to the wheel.
Depends, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
280 to the wheel.
No. 300 to the wheel. I'm saying it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 280 to 300 to the wheel, all motor.
I mean, as long as you're not scared of tuning it.
I'm not scared. I'll give it all the jam, dude. So, I mean, look, we got the upgraded valve springs, retainers, valves,
This
everything.
thing can rev then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, this thing's driving to the moon, so.
I think that's going to limit you to the bottom end.
Exactly.
Unless you do ARP rod bullets.
So what's dope is we'll get a bunch of RPM, we'll get a bunch of power, and this is going to be our cheat code right here.
So quick question, if
what's
you
up?
were to boost it, would this head be good or bad?
I mean, so it's kind of like LS's, right? Where when you put a turbo on LS, doesn't matter what LS you got, what cam, what heads, whatever, they always end up making a lot of power. Obviously, some sets will make it more efficiently, quicker here, and there, but that's kind of how K-Series are. You could kind of take any K-Series and you put a turbo on it, and they hit. So
It'll work.
I don't really know if it's worth going this crazy, you know? When you're doing NA power, that makes you work for it, and we're working for it, but if you're gonna boost it, put a turbo on it.
Stock.
So we're gonna just get right to it. I wanna get the head on ASAP so that I can get this thing sealed up and feel good about it. So first thing, Arp Head Studs, right? It's a classic move. Some guys like to lube the lower threads. Some guys don't. I'm one of the guys that don't.
What is this engine for?
This is the engine you took apart.
Really?
Remember that?
The K for the 86?
Yeah, it's about time.
Wow, holy shit. All right, let me back up. I'll clip you.
Here, Steve, put these in. See that side up.
This side up?
Yeah.
Down here?
Yep. Take a hole.
Factory torque?
Factory torque. Steve tight.
Just as tight as I can get with my fingers.
Exactly.
Pause.
Finger tight. Unless there's still oil and you'll hear it go. Take it out and clean it, then put it back in. OEM K24 head gasket. The OEM one's the move. I mean, look at this thing. It's a good unit. Just like that. Make sure it goes down even. Honestly, I didn't think I'd be able to get a head like this for this engine. It's honestly kind of, I wouldn't say overkill. It's just nuts. I was not anticipating being able to actually do this, but my buddy Seamus from Taylor Chassis Solutions actually let this thing go for a really awesome deal. And I just have to say huge shout out to him for making this possible, because this head on this engine will make this whole project just be to the next level. I mean, 280 horsepower, all motor of a 4-cylinder. Steve, that's unheard of.
It's too easy.
It's too easy. With this thing, it's too easy. Degreased. Let's officially drop her down.
You're looking good, you're good.
We're good?
Yeah, you're good.
There we go. She's on. We officially have a 2420, boys.
Go.
That's it. With a Pro 156 head. That's nuts.
Too easy.
It's too easy. Young Jim's stoked. Actually, modern Jim's hyped right now.
Modern Jim.
Past Jim, modern Jim, future Jim. All three gyms are hyped right now.
Jim's covered.
Do you guys know the Arp Torque Lube right here, right? Usually you put it on the base of your nuts and washers. It's really easy to get out of hand with this stuff, and then when you start your engine for the first time, it gets in the oil, it's all clumpy, it's gross. My buddy Seamus actually showed me this technique where it's a solid way to get like the perfect amount on everything, right? Squeeze the lube in the back. It's a messy job, but just get it on everything. Dude, that looks so gross. See? Now there's no clumps.
You weren't going bareback for that.
No, wasn't going in raw for these. So we're gonna put these down here, of course, washer first, and then the nut. And look at that, there's no clumps on it. It's just like the perfect amount. I'm gonna do my first seating pass at 20, just to get the head in place. And then 40, and 60, and then 80. Oh, come on, come. There we go. Well, it's official. She's assembled. Is officially a K24 20. All right, so this is the part where I forgot how it all goes together, but we're gonna figure it out. Cam trays. Before we get into that though, Spoon is chugging along in the door bars, and this is kind of what we're trying to do here, since we decided not to use the cage kit door bars because my big ass has to crawl in and out of this car, so we're trying to make it a little more tall man friendly.
I'm trying to get you in the gym.
It's a height thing, not a thick thing, Spoon. Just call me fat. Whatever. So this is the main bar he got done so far. Now we're trying to figure out the cross position, which is probably in there, which is nice. Watch, ready? No problem. Ugh. That's nice. All the elbow room. Love it. Ship it. This is pretty cool because most engines, they put the cam trays casted into the head, right? So if you wipe out a cam seat or you lose like a cam lobe or something, your whole head's trash, which sucks. Honda's cool because the cam tray right here is actually a separate piece. This then bolts to the head, which is dope. So the finesse part about this is the rockers for the valves, right? And the VTEC right here, they will want to fall apart. So I have them zip tied together from when I pulled them out, which was a shout out to previous gym. So now the goal is to get this back in the head without any of that stuff falling apart, and we should be good. So what? What's so funny?
Shout out previous gym.
That's what I'm saying. So before we put them on, we got to do these little spring things that kind of hold up the where the rollers are for the rockers.
You wearing gloves, all professional.
No, I'm just sick of washing my hands. Do not forget to RTV this spot. It's super easy to, because then you'll just have a annoying oil leak behind your head forever. We don't want that. And of course, Honda Bond. Honda Bond, the best stuff ever created. If these fall, springs go everywhere. Let's see. So these are doweled, so it should go into, get these seated. There we go. See, now it's looking like a Honda, huh? Make sure they're seated. Look at that, boom. We're in there clear. And then to do a valve job, it's super simple, right? You loosen this 10 mil right here, and you turn this until you have the right clearance that you need. Easy, no shims, no nothing.
What do they call that?
That's where Honda kind of has a one up on VVL. All right, I'll give it to them there. No shims. Love that. You could spin this thing to as high as you bottom end can take it. See how these two actually have the valve spring to sit on? Those springs that we put in actually holds the center one up, since it has no valve spring. Cool, right? See, simple. Simple but works. Honda, they killed it. I'll give them that. What's sick too is look at the oiling passage on the cam caps. You see them right there? See those huge grooves in there? Get a whole bunch of oil in there. Nice. Honda killed on that one too. They know what they're doing. All right, now it's time for the next spicy piece of the puzzle, and that is the Drag Cartel 3.2s. Now, any K-Series guy out there knows that these are kind of like the jam. These are like the go-to cam for like a universal strong power band, right? See Spoon shaking his head, you know.
Motor, turbo, they love it.
Whatever you got, 3.2s. Easy. Expensive, but they're nice, you know? If you gotta do anything to your K-Series, do some valve springs and do some 3.2s and she'll be hitting. We got the exhaust. Also, if you don't plan on starting your engine for a long time, I would recommend using more of a grease than like a thinner lube like this, because this stuff will kind of like, you know, fall off after a while. It's right here. There we go. Lots of lube. Never hurt nobody. Right there. We also have the bottom end rotated off 90, right? So TDC moved it 90 degrees. So now the pistons are all below the deck. So there's gonna be no valve to piston whacking when we torque the cams down. Make sense? So these are all labeled, so there's no guessing, which is really nice. Get in there. Oh. Perfect. We do have a new upper guide. You see it? New talent? This just goes right here.
You need that?
Definitely need that. Also, make sure these are in the right spots or else your valve cover won't bolt on.
Imagine that.
That'd be so annoying.
Yeah.
If you go to bolt your valve cover on, just for the ooh, look at that. You can fit them with the cam in.
You learned something new.
See, it's dope, right? So we have these points right here, and that is for the cam sensor to pick up so that cam sensors knows where the cams are at. Simple, right? It all makes sense when you break it down. These have the craziest torque sequence because there's so many damn bolts. Remember, the torque sequence is very important on cams because you can snap a cam if you torque it wrong just because they're so damn brittle. They're strong, but they're brittle, you know? So we're just gonna casually seat it in sequence before we actually like torque it down. Right, Donnie?
Right.
Inside.
Outside.
So tight. There we go. So this is another major part of the K-Series puzzle, right? So they're VTC on the intake cam, which means the mechanical timing of the cam will actually move via oil pressure actuation, right? It's a valuable tool, right? To be able to actually advance or retard your cam timing. You could broaden your power band, which is awesome. We talk about it all the time. There's two cam gears that are commonly used, the RBB and the RBC. RBB is the K24, RBC is the K20. We could measure it like that, right? The RBB cam gear will only swing about 25 degrees overall, where the RBC will swing 50 degrees overall, which is a lot more broader of a swing, which you can even broaden your power band even larger. So if you have a stock K24, you can take the RBC one, which is 50 degrees, put it on, you have a little bit more of a power band, right? Since we have a K24 bottom end and a K20 head, our piston to valve clearance is now different. So if we use the full 50 degrees from the RBC gear, it'll actually hit the intake valves on the pistons because the timing is swung too dramatically. You could put a limiting pin in the RBC gear and get 30 degrees, or you could just run your factory RBB gear, which is 25 degrees. You don't gotta worry about it. Will that 5 degrees make or break the engine? No. Well, might get a horsepower or 2 in some areas, maybe, but for me, it's not worth thinking about. So we're gonna use the RBB gear, which is the 25 degree. That was kind of a mouthful, but if you listen closely and you're a Honda guy, did you get what I was saying?
I got it 100%.
You got 100%.
Don't
okay.
ask him.
Basically, stage 1, K20, stage 3.
No, none of that.
Don't be a Donnie.
The other gear.
If you're doing a K series, rewind this and listen to it over again. If not, well, there's some useless information that you can tell your friends.
It sounded like it made perfect sense.
All right, so we're done with the top for now. Now we're gonna move to the bottom. There we go. First weird thing we gotta do is this little oil squirter, whatever the hell this thing is, we gotta remove it. Because for some reason, it will give you low oil pressure if you don't cap it. Before, had the original K24 pump, which was like the size of the whole, had like balance shafts, it looked like a Whipple supercharger, the thing was huge. We get rid of it, and we upgrade to a K20 oil pump because they're smaller, right? If you try and spin the K24 oil pumps to a really high RPM, there's so much mass to them that, well, they can like kind of grenade and just break, and it's not good. So, and it doesn't fit with our oil pan, since we're going rear-wheel drive oil pan. Pulls right out, right?
Oh, it's O-ringed?
Yeah, see how it's just like a little like squirter thing? I don't really know what it is. So what you do is you take a 14mm bolt, smear it in Honda Bond, because Honda Bond's good for everything.
That much?
Oh yeah. And luckily our block is tapped, threaded tapped. Some of them aren't, so you actually have to thread and tap it, which sucks. I'm happy we don't have to. There we go, boom. Now we don't have low oil pressure. Now it's time for the K20 Type S oil pump, the mod that you do when you want to rev your K high, because the K24 oil pump is huge.
It makes the motor run so much smoother.
Yeah, it does make the motor run a lot smoother. You can still spin it high.
Yeah.
You can spin it to like 8 grand. That's high. 85 if you're feeling risky. I don't know. But since we are going with a rear-wheel drive oil pan, shout out to Toge Factory. I think it's beautiful. Even if we wanted to stay with the stock K24 oil pan, we can't because there's no room for it. That's why we go with the Type S K20 oil pump. You see this, ready? Look at that, it don't fit. Because it's meant for a K20, not a K24, so we gotta make it fit. I completely lied to all of you guys. So, look at it. So I got an aftermarket pump, right? I got the HPT pump, and what they do is they pre-modify it for you, because look at it, actually fully sits down. But usually, the casting goes straight here, right? There's not this like groove that's machined in here, so it actually hits the bolts in the first main for the engine right here. Oh, okay, that saves me some headache. We didn't share it before, but we are using a Toge Factory rear-wheel drive K-Series oil pan. You guys have saw this before when we did the K-Series S14. And if anyone's ever seen or heard about anything rear-wheel drive K-Series, they've heard of TF Works or Toge Factory because they are, well, they're the go-to company, right? So if you look at the pump, it sits here, but it actually hits the pan itself with the factory pickup. See that? So what they do is now they have this thing is crazy. You gotta see this thing. It's a full billet pickup for the pan. Look at that. It's ridiculous. It's like a low profile pickup tube. You see that? Sits right in there. Isn't that sick?
That is.
Right? So at this point, they've had so many different renditions of the kit that they really have it dialed in, and it's honestly awesome to see, right? It's super easy, even though it seems a little bit nerve-wracking, right? Basically split the pump in half. We don't gotta do any crazy shimming, nothing. This stuff is it's just easy, dude. There's not really much to it. This slides right off. Boom. You see that? That's literally just your whole oil pump. It's that simple. There's no magic to it. It's just this gear that basically smushes oil, pressurizes it, and sends it to the engine. Pretty dope. So now all we have to do is take this. There's no crazy shims. There's no crazy machine work. You just press it on. It's dialed. Easy. Look at that. Now I bolt it up. And look at it. Now the pickup tube is right in front and out of the way, so it can clear a subframe for rear-wheel drive. And then, boom, just sits like that. How nuts is that? So next piece is the K20 Windage Tray. Part number, right there. Now that we don't have a K24 oil pump on here, I covered all of this, right? You need the windage trays or else oil is just kind of splashing around too dramatically, right? So, this thing, I think sits, yep, just like that. Look at it, clears the Type S pump, all that easy stuff. But, we have to modify this one because since the oil pan has to get so tight to the engine to clear the subframe, it's gonna hit the windage tray. So with the TF kit, right, you can see they traced it in red where to cut. Make sure to deburr this extremely well because you don't want any metal shavings in your engine because that's no good. Perfect. For some reason, I bought all new hardware.
For no reason. Good reason.
Good reason. Look at that. See, hold on, I gotta show this off real quick, right? So we had a bunch of hardware laying around and we needed it cleaned up, you know, set it out, get it all, where you going, which side you going on? We got it all re-zinc coated, right? No, gold is very popular, gold zinc, but the OEM stuff is silver, right? So we decided to go with a more OEM look. We got it all silver zinc. How good is that? It's good. OEM, baby. Silver's good. So now we could throw the oil pump chain on, which has no orientation, right? This is why I left the pump loose, because the pump kind of has to be off to get the pain in the ass. Boom. See? Put that on. Now it's nice and loose, you know? Of course. So I went to assemble the timing components and completely neglected the fact that I completely lost all of the hardware for the guides and everything, and their specialty bolts. So that's what happens when you take an engine part 6 months ago and just aren't organized enough. So my buddy's actually gonna head down and drop those off so we can time this thing up and get it. Spoon has been working in the background trying to do the door bars for the cage all day, and I've been running over and it looks awesome. It's like exactly what I wanted, and I'm so happy we went with this route because it just kind of tailors to me a little bit more personally than the bars that came with the kit. Look how perfect these are. They're so, like, you killed it on these. These are exactly what I wanted, right? So now I can get in and out of the car a hell of a lot easier because I have these stupid long legs that were impossible to get out before because the door bar went up a little too high. And also now this one comes down a little bit lower, so my elbow is up here and not hitting this bar, which is huge. This looks absolutely amazing.
It's like a custom tailored suit.
That's the best way to put it. My buddy Brian saved the day here at Final Drive Racing, right? So instead of just getting new bolts, he got me the upgrade here, right? So we take my big old mess over here. So we have the oil pump guide, right? And so this slips behind it, right? Becomes a new mounting point for this. And now we have this collar right here that won't allow the timing chain to actually fall off the gear.
Gotcha.
If is it for guys that are removing their heads often, or is it for a fail-safe?
It's just more of a fail-safe, so if the factory tensioner ever gives out, there's a little latch in there.
Yep.
If it ever gives out and it comes off, it won't allow it to at least skip on here. And with the 07, which you have, it goes past both center lines.
Oh.
The chain literally can't come off of here, so all it'll do is open up here.
That's awesome.
On the one side that swings, that's
so
it.
this is cool. So this is a nice little, nice
Little
little
upgrade.
fail-safe, just in case your tensioner ever shits the bed.
You can rev that bitch to the moon and be confident.
Love that. That's that K-Series power.
It's the K-Series power.
K the world.
That's it, man.
K the world.
So we had these in a TDC position.
Top dead center.
Top dead center. So now we can line the golds with that, right?
See the mark right there, the little line?
Where is
That'll line up with that. So this will stay as is, just like that.
Yeah.
You can put this guide if you want.
I'm gonna act if this one dude is doing this. Ready? I'm gonna take this for now while everything's in time.
Still easy.
So since this chain is on, we can now put this piece in. All right. It's not upside down this time. New oil pump tensioner, right, for the chain?
Yep.
Cool. Our new zinc hardware. Love that.
Let's go.
Here, Stevie, you do the honors. This is the fun part. Ready? Pull that right there.
Pull the.
Just pull it right off.
Straight out?
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
What do I do with this? Keep it?
Throw it away.
Put it on check. What is this called?
That's like the oil pump tensioner release bracket thing.
My first one.
Look at all that. That chain is not going nowhere when this thing's spinning to 95.
Hell yeah.
Since we have the lower piece right here, and we have the upper guide, this thing can't actually come out of time now. Just super cool. Brand new guide.
Just copped it.
All matching, not matching hardware. Do you see that?
Hell yeah.
I lost all the hardware for this engine, dude. It's in a bucket somewhere.
Somewhere.
I have the pivoting guide,
Pivot.
or the tensioning guide, you can call it.
Okay.
All right, so this is gonna go right here. This was the bolt that we needed really bad.
Earlier? Oh.
Now this one can swing and put tension on the chain.
Gotcha.
You like that?
Yes, sir.
They look a little complicated because there's a lot of just like crazy shapes on this engine, but it's got to be one of the most simple engines to ever put together and work on ever.
Yeah.
Such a good like first learning engine.
Really?
Yeah.
Could have fooled me.
Brian's pissed that I have a Phillips head.
Got a license plate screw in
You see
there.
right there? It's okay.
Shit's not allowed. No good.
He said he can't seal it up until he...
Nope.
Oh, the tensioner pin, I pulled it by accident. Oh no. I'm fighting the tension right now. That's it. Now everything's tight, everything's timed. Now we got a valve cover, front cover, oil pan, and she's sealed.
Said earlier, I want to say it on camera, ready to put this in the video, that this piece looks like the Starfleet Enterprise. All the Trekkies out there, holla at me.
You know what they say, Steve?
What up?
It's too easy.
It's too easy.
For good measures, crank it over a few times. She feels good. Everything feels smooth. Everything feels tight, but not too tight.
Too tight, not ultra tight.
Not ultra tight. Not like the cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. This, and then gotta go easy just in case you timed it wrong. You're waiting to feel the piston smack the valve.
Yeah, and that too easy comes to bite you in the ass because you didn't go easy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we'll time it back up at TDC. Right, we're here. Boom,
Good.
still in time.
Arrows and stuff lining
Yep.
up.
If it's in time, you're having a good time. You know what I mean? I love this. This feels so good. Dude.
If you're in time, everything's fine. There it is.
Bar,
That's
yeah.
it.
So there we go. It is now officially a K2420. So the next thing we need is the front timing cover, and well, since now this is the front of the engine, this part is very important because that's what you
Visible.
see in the engine bay, right? So I kept trying to convince myself to get one of those fancy billet ones, and I just couldn't. There's so much money. And now it's 6 months later, and I wish I just spent the money.
Yeah.
So I need to get a front timing cover. I wasn't anticipating doing this today, but it all worked out. Try and find one tomorrow, even if it's just an OEM one that we make pretty, kind of like we did for the K14. And then we can get the oil pan on and then the valve cover, of course. But for now, this thing is fully sealed up, and we have one badass engine.
That's a badass engine.
It's like, I know a lot of guys don't know about the 4-piston heads, but
They're about to find out?
They're about to find out, dude. 280 horsepower out of a 4-cylinder all motor. That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah,
That's
nice.
crazy. And in the 86, which is gonna weigh nothing, it's gonna feel ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous. But I guess before we leave you for today, I want to fit on the Toga factory pen real quick so you guys can see it.
Let's do it.
So if I clearance everything right, this thing should literally.
Thing looks like it flies too.
This is officially rear-wheel drive, just like that. Well, that fits me on it. Yeah, look, it's just flat.
That was too easy.
Too easy. It looks ridiculous, right? But that's what you have to do. We're taking a front-wheel drive engine. That's the tallest damn engine ever produced.
Yeah.
Putting it in a rear-wheel drive format, and we're working with the constraints in Toga Factory, TF Works. Absolutely killed it.
Hell yeah. It's crazy because the shine off of that is like illuminating off your face.
Yeah.
It's like you're telling scary stories. Are you afraid of the dark?
And then your
In the
motor
face.
lost oil pressure.
Exactly.
That's gangster. You showed them this thing was billet?
Oh yeah, I didn't even show them that. Look at this. So they make the whole, like this whole collector piece right here, tray is one piece of billet. You see it?
Yep.
Full
Damn.
billet piece. Crazy. Them dudes are chopping into aluminum blocks.
I like the billet timing cover that we were looking at. I know
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I gotta spend it though. It sucks that you spend all that money just because it looks cool. But I guess there's so much shit in cars that we spend so much money just because it looks cool.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it.
Those are the type of
We're all very guilty of it.
those are the type of birthday gifts I wish that I could gift my friends.
Just like a good pair of socks and a front timing cover for a K24.
Right.
Yeah, love that.
Perfect Christmas
Perfect
gift.
Christmas.
But by then the build and fuck up the content.
Got a K24, buy him a nice fancy timing cover for Christmas.
Billet timing cover. Was it Drag Cartel or
Or
Skunk
Scum 2. Yeah. You pick.
What color valve cover?
What was that?
What color valve cover?
I mean, we have to pick the color of the damn car first before we pick the color of the valve cover.
No, you don't.
Would you be mad at me if I wanted just wrinkle red?
No, I was leaning towards wrinkle red.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's done, but there's a reason why it's always done. Yeah.
And the base is all black, so it's gonna pop. Then the billet cover,
Wrinkle red.
oil pan.
Give me your dirty hands. Wrinkle red.
Wrinkle.
I look over and Spoon has the whole cage out again.
He's an animal.
You can see he took it out in some major pieces, right? Because we talked about Spoon taking the cage back out so he could weld the majority of it out of the car,
Outside,
where
yeah.
he's not wrapped like a pretzel in the backseat of the E36.
Yeah.
And then put it in the car and weld up the remainder of it. So, main hoop. There's a lot of welds that need to end up on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the rear X,
Mm-hmm.
and then the strut tower box with the pull. So,
There's And the front piece
Just what was that?
the front piece I just lowered. I took off the pedestal and just leave it in the car. That way you can get around the entire bar. Same with these.
Perfect.
So
He got a game plan.
yeah, tomorrow I'll start welding.
We'll put some Bad Bunny in. Get the
Yeah,
torch
Bad
going.
Bunny gonna
That's
go
it,
crazy,
right?
yeah.
Today was Lil Wayne.
So it was
Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne.
I love that.
But this thing by the end of the week will be.
At my house getting ready to paint.
Spoon's got the paint booth.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna stank up your whole neighborhood with some.
Chill, dog. I got fans and filters. Don't put me on like that.
Sorry, neighbors.
All right.
I'm hyped. I've been dying to get this thing kind of together for the last like 6 months, but I finally had all the parts and the excuse. So my first K20 420 and my first 4-piston head, and it's a gangster one. So my goal is to get this thing in the car by the end of the week, which is very doable. I think the big thing we're waiting on is a clutch kit, which I think we can get in time, and we have everything else. So it'll be pretty cool to see. So for now, I think we're gonna end it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the K series content, and there's very much more to come. So you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content, and we'll see you guys very shortly.